Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and here's a Tekto knife that I've had for a while. Now, that was my first experience with Tekto knives, and this is a really cool knife, but I did have a bunch of little issues with it. Not that it has issues, but like just issues with the design and the way it was executed. However, recently they sent me one of their OTF knives. Now, this is built in Portland, Maine, with parts that are sourced from overseas. So it is made here in the USA, but the parts are sourced locally and from overseas. And I gotta say, I'm extremely impressed with this. I was not expecting it to be as good a quality as it is. And it has extremely good fit and finish. The tolerances, even the rattle and tap. Yeah, there's a little bit, but not as much as like what I see on a lot of other OTFs. Even like this one, the shootout, the Benchmade shootout. Lots of rattle and tap, even when it's closed. A little bit when it's closed. Super lightweight. Here's the Burnley Design Boker Plus. This one's also made in the USA, but sourced parts. A little bit of rattle and tap when it's closed, especially when it's open. Same thing with the blade. But great OTF. This is more of a lightweight duty OTF though. Very slick. It's very slippery. It's more for just light duty cutting and stuff. But we'll go back to those in a second. But this one though, no rattle, no tap. I can rattle the blade. Very little though. I mean, it's very tight. Then when it's closed, absolutely nothing. Very solid. The fit, the finish. It does have a glass breaker on the back. If it'll focus. The fit and finish is done extremely well. Inset clip with flat screws. It's machined and put together very, very well. The button on it has the ramp with the stair step jimping that gives plenty of traction. The tension is a good amount of tension, and then right when you get to the point of no return, the breaking point, it cranks out there. The spring feels really good. I have not put oil in it or anything, and you don't want to put regular oil in these anyways, but I haven't put any dry oil or anything like that. Very, very snappy. Like I said, the tension on the spring is nice and strong, but not too strong. The ramp makes it a little bit easier to push in and out, so it's going to be, at the medium range of pressure. It's not so strong where you have to use two fingers, but it's got enough strength to where, when you're pushing it, you got to mean to do it, which is good. Double-edged spear point blade, dagger blade shape with serrations. Not a huge fan of the serrations. Not particularly these serrations, just I'm not a big fan of half and half serrations. I think, if you're going to do serrations, do the whole blade. And in this case, you could have done half serrations on one side and then an edge on the other side. Or just a complete double-edged, full-edged knife instead of having serrations at all. But now on an application like this, I'm not as upset at it. So we'll go more into that in a second. Anyways, the blade geometry, it's robust. It's definitely thick behind the edge. The thickest point of these is the center, and then it has very little distance to taper down to a thin edge. So, like most OTFs, it's a robust poker, right? They're not really meant for heavy duty slicing and passing through materials cleanly. It's more for passing through puncturing. Now, the edge did not come as sharp as I would like. I did feel a little rough spot right here. I think the edge could have been done a little bit better. Now, it'll still cut paper. It's pretty consistent. I see a little bit of an inconsistency on one side towards the tip, but for the right there, you can see it. But it's pretty good, though. It's pretty good. I just wish it was a little bit sharper. The aluminum body, like I said, very solid. It has a real tightness to it that just feels like good quality. It feels like you're holding something that's capable. It feels like you're holding something. It's called the Humvee, so I guess maybe that's for a reason. It does have a little weight to it, which I do like. If we bring back the shootout really quick, this is extremely, extremely lightweight. And I know a lot of people love that. And I'd prefer a little bit more weight. Now, I understand the point of it, right? I understand the point of it. It's a tough knife. It just doesn't feel like it. Now, I love that it's in crew wear, and I love the blade geometry. This thing is made to be cut with, and I love that about this. I wish it's D2 steel. Same thing with this Burnley design. I do wish that this had better steel. Now, D2 is is a perfectly fine steel as long as it's heat treated correctly. The problem with it is that 90% of the time when we see it, it's just not heat treated to its, to its optimal performance. We're never really seeing D2 shine the way it could if it was done well. But it's hard for companies to do it well because it's not a steel that's easy to do on mass, in mass production, at least from what I've heard. I'm not a heat treater, just from what I've heard. So, I would say it could be done well. I don't know. I haven't tested it or anything like that. But that's where D2 gets a bad rap. But aside from that, D2 all in all is a great steel. It holds a really good edge. It's not very corrosion resistant, so this is coated, so you wouldn't have to worry about the corrosion. It's plenty tough for something like this. It's not considered a tough steel, but it's plenty tough. But yeah, it's got great edge retention when it's done well. Now, it likes a toothy edge. That's another thing. It likes a nice coarse edge, toothy to medium grit edge. And yeah, I think that it's not that big of a deal that this is D2, considering the application. Don't get me wrong. I see people that carry OTFs. There are some people out there that carry OTFs and beat the absolute hell out of them. They're picking glass and, using it like to pick at things. And, obviously they cut and open things up, but their edges are always shot. And it's like, it's crazy how much they actually do with an OTF. But then there's a lot of people that literally just use it for light duty opening thing, like light duty cutting, very light duty, so that they keep their edge sharp. And then they primarily keep it for self-defense, which is what its intended purpose is, with this blade shape, with the geometry, it's made for poking. Now, if the geometry's done better, it can be a good slicer, especially if this was a hollow grind. Oh man, if this was a hollow grind on both sides, oh my goodness, this would be so awesome. I'd be screaming about it even more. And I am screaming about it a little bit because it is very well done. I am impressed. But like I said, a couple little things, I'd prefer a little bit better steel. Is it that big of a deal? Not really. Serrations, again, not that big of a deal. I'd prefer a plain edge on both sides, and I'd prefer a hollow grind on both sides. That might make the cost go up. I don't know. And the cost is already on the higher side of things for this. Now, considering it is, assembled and built in the USA with, overseas parts, I know that helps bring the cost down a little bit, but it's still, it's up there a little bit. But all in all, solid knife, solid, well built, and very impressive. Now they do have other OTFs as well. I have not tried any of those, and I'm hoping to get some of them on the channel, including other knives from them, because this shows me like that these guys probably can do some pretty good work. I mean, the like I was saying before, with this knife, I had some little issues with it, like the blade. You can touch the blade when it's closed. My blade was hitting the back spacer a little bit. Just little things like that. Now, I don't know if all of them are like that, but I would guess a majority or a lot of them are, because I can't see how this could have been done without having those issues. So I don't think it's just mine, but that made me kind of look at it like, you know, uh, are they making good knives? And looking at this knife, even though it looks cool and it's very snappy and the action's good, there is just some of those issues that have been obviously overlooked from the company. But then when you get into something like this, it's like, okay, all right. But anyways, there you guys go. Thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. Peace.